In the last video we looked at Daniel chapter 2. In this video we'll be looking at Daniel chapter 3. Just a little recap. Daniel chapter 2 describes events which took place roughly 600 years before Christ. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. We know that the wise men, supposed wise men, weren't able to help Nebuchadnezzar where the dream was concerned. Daniel could. Daniel went into the king, made the king aware of the fact that the Most High would be able to help Nebuchadnezzar out where the dream was concerned. So Daniel went in representing the Most High, and ultimately, though people were watching Daniel, they were really watching the Creator. And anytime we take a stand for Him, anytime we go anywhere and declare that we follow Him, people are indirectly watching Him through us. And some people may say, or disagree, should I say, with the idea that the Most High is on trial. But He is, every day He's on trial. People are judging Him. And He has chosen us to represent Him, and that's a glorious honour that He has bestowed upon us. An image was seen in the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar saw an image in his dream representing certain kingdoms: Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece. The first phase of Rome represented by the iron. Then we had a dividing of Rome represented by the iron and clay. That happened around 476 AD when the barbarian tribes came down from the north and basically sacked Rome, the city of Rome. I also suggested that the iron and clay mixed, because remember, the iron represents Rome, and the iron basically is in place to a certain degree until Christ returns. So Rome exists in two forms, from its beginning right through until its end when Christ returns. I suggested that the clay mixed with the iron represented a mixture of church and state. And I really do want feedback where that is concerned, what you think of that idea. Moving on to Daniel chapter 3, we see that Nebuchadnezzar humbled himself first of all at the end of chapter 2, but by the beginning of chapter 3, pride has crept back in, and he expresses that pride by making an image similar to the one that he had seen in his dream, but this time of pure gold, as if to suggest that his kingdom will never come to an end. He sets up this image on a plain and makes a decree. He calls all of the heads of various organisations together, and he basically makes them aware of the fact that when the music plays, they are to bow down. And so the image is erected, the music plays, everyone bows down except for three people: Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, or Hananiah, Mishael and Azariah, and they are basically turned in. People inform on them, and they are brought before the king, and he doesn't condemn them straight away. He gives them another opportunity. He says to them, if when the music plays again you bow down, then fair enough, but if you don't, then I'm going to have to cast you into the fiery furnace. They refuse to bow down, and they are cast into the furnace after Nebuchadnezzar gives an order that the furnace ought to be heated 7 times, or as hot as it can get. The furnace is so hot that it burns up the men who actually take the 3 Hebrew boys toward the furnace. Nebuchadnezzar looks. There must have been a window in the furnace, because he says, did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire? And I see a 4th, one like the Son of God, in there. They are not harmed at all by the fire. The scripture says that they don't even smell like smoke when they come out. And once again, Nebuchadnezzar gives glory to the Most High, and even makes a decree that all people in his kingdom ought to worship the Most High. So that's the story in a nutshell. How can we apply this story to these last days, the events described in this story to these last days? The 3 Hebrew boys represent the last day, God's last day people. Physical Babylon or literal Babylon represents spiritual Babylon, the power described in Revelation. And Daniel chapter 3 it gives insight into Revelation chapter 13, when certain laws are passed, an image of the beast is formed as described in Revelation 13, and people are to a certain degree deceived, and that deceit kind of brings about a mindset, and the mindset kind of leads people to accept this image and bow down to it. Now this image is a rebellious image, and all who are deceived will bow down to it, except for those who are true to Christ, similar to the 3 Hebrew boys. They, you can see in their experience in chapter 1, were true to Christ. They purposed in their hearts that they wouldn't defile themselves with Babylonian things. And we have to, in this day and age, follow their example, because pretty soon the image of the beast will be formed, and laws will be made and put in place that will basically threaten your liberty, your right to worship the Most High, according to, and it is written. And they were cast into a fiery furnace, and we will go through a fiery trial. A fiery trial we will go through, but as Christ was with the Hebrew boys in the midst of the furnace, so he will be with us as we go through these trials. And as we go through these trials, it will be a great witness, as the plight of the Hebrew boys was a great witness to Nebuchadnezzar and those around him. So the experience of the last days people will be a great witness to the people who witness it. Some will harden their hearts, others will see the glory of the Most High through what he will do for us, and they will surrender themselves to him. Let me just whistle the dog. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can add. If you think that I've missed anything, please let me know in the comment section below. If you've got any questions, ask them in the comment section below. If I've not been clear, again, ask me to clarify in the section below. And please pray for me as I continue praying for me, and study the Bible earnestly. When we look at Christ's example, it's the example that we ought to follow. He overcame temptation because he had chosen to apply a verse in Psalm 119 verse 11. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against you. And only if we choose to become diligent Bible students will we stand like the Hebrew boys stood in Babylon in these last days, because a time of trouble such as never was is soon to come upon the earth. And if we don't take time now to prepare ourselves while the Most High is holding back the winds of strife, we will fall when that time comes. Again, pray for me as I pray for you, and I hope that what I've said has been clear and edifying.